Hello, welcome. You're listening to 27 Degrees SAG, the Galactic Center. Thank you so much for coming along with us this evening. My name is Kim Lowe, and I am a psychic, an astrologer, a feng shui consultant. I'm an author and also a health coach. And I'm here this evening to bring you a wonderful guest tonight. Thank you so much for everyone coming along with me this hour. And also, if you're in the chat room, say hi. I'm going to be in there as well. We have this wonderful recording for you, this particular show. And I am so excited for y'all to meet this guest. His name is Eric M Twiggs, and he is the founding partner and president of the What Now movement. His mission is to build high-performing entrepreneurs, authors, and career professionals who are prepared for life's unexpected curveballs. We all need that, don't we? Every day we have an unexpected curveball. He's also the author of The Discipline of Now. We're going to be talking about that tonight, including 12 practical principles to overcome procrastination. I definitely need this book, I'm telling you, and I know everybody out there does too. The Discipline of Now has been recognized as a global top 10 finalist for the 2020 Author Elite Awards in the category of the best self-help book. And this recognition was based on the combination of the following criteria: the cover design, the content, popularity, and social contribution. I do not deny that. This is a topic that is, sorely unresearched and, not written about. It's a sore subject because I think everybody's got their hand in the air that they're guilty of procrastination. Eric is also the host of a weekly inspirational podcast entitled The 30-Minute Hour. As a certified life and business coach, Eric has conducted over 28,000 coaching sessions, and I'm sure more by now, helping executive leaders and entrepreneurs who have moved from feeling frustrated to feeling fulfillment. He has also led organizations of 500 or more people in corporate America and shared his message with corporations, associations, and congregations across the country. By reading The Discipline of Now, you will receive a proven blueprint to beat procrastination so that you can make more money, accomplish more, and feel more confident. Welcome to the show, Eric. So good to see you. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you for that awesome introduction.
Yes. So I want to just get to it, and I'm just going to lay my cards on the table. I want to be the first one to say, this is my confession. I have a list every year. I make up the list, and I think this is the year I'm going to get to these kinds of things that Spirit has actually told me, girl, you better do it this year. And I have to tell you, I channel, I do all of the above. And it just seems like sometimes I have this block that, and I recognize these excuses, and I just have to label it for what it is: procrastination. I am so glad you're here with us. And just to kind of backtrack here, were you suffering from the same kind of blockages that I'm suffering from now?
I think procrastination for me has always been an issue, especially when I was, in high school and in college. So for me, I had an experience that really just changed everything for me. It was my senior year in college. I talk about this in the book, and I'm having this conversation with my good friend Donnell, and he and I at the time we're a little different. He's all about his purpose, and I was all about the party. And he would always give me a hard time and say, man, you need to get serious and figure out what it is you want to do with your life. And I'm like, man, Donnell, loosen up. We have plenty of time to figure all that out. are you coming to the frat party with me or not? And so time goes by, he and I don't speak, and I get a phone call from his mother informing me that he was killed in a car accident.
No. Oh, no. I'm so sorry. Oh, that's
Changed everything. Sent me a message that maybe I don't have the time that I think to do the things that I want to do. And really from that moment on, I've been thinking about how I'm spending time, where I'm procrastinating, ways I could be more productive, and also helping other people as well.
wow. Wow. That's profound. That does. When loss, a tragic loss like that when you're so young is so pivotal about the decisions that you're going to make going forward. I totally can relate to that. So you came up with this What Now movement. Tell me a little bit about what that is.
The What Now movement. I'm the president of this What Now movement, and it started right before the pandemic. So right before the pandemic, it was myself, it was Ted Fells, one of my other business partners, and Dr. Sharon H. Porter, a third business partner. And we were talking like we need to work together and join forces. And we came up with this idea where we were going to get into like a hotel conference room, get these people in the room, do these conferences, promote them, so forth and so on, maybe speak a little bit. It was going to be great. And then the pandemic happened. And that was all just shut off. And we said, okay, well, what now? We still want to work together. What now? And then we've noticed that people in our different circles had similar stories. They would say, I've got this venture that I'm thinking about, but I'm going to wait until things get back to normal. Like we each had one person in our circle saying that to us. And we were like, no, that's the last thing you want to do. Wait until things get back to normal. You need to ask yourself the question, what now? And then the light bulbs went off. We decided to call it the What Now movement. So we formed this business venture, and our mission is to help people to pivot. So whenever you face a struggle or a challenge or a setback, the last thing you want to do is stop. So the spirit of the What Now movement is all about pivoting when you face a struggle. And so we have a Facebook group of 1,700 plus people, and we do master classes. We provide daily videos, but the whole mission is to help people and inspire people to pivot.
That's brilliant. Brilliant and so needed today. That's amazing. So out of this, out of this need to do something and move forward, this must have inspired you to write this book, right?
Well, so the book was written prior to all of this going down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but it's interesting. It lines up with my core mission, the things that I talk about.
Wow, that's ingenious, right? Great timing.
Yeah. You fall short, say you set a New Year's resolution and you fall short of your goal, or you say you're going to stop eating cookies, you eat the cookie. It's easy to just stop, right? And say, well, oh well, so much for that. But you have to keep going. You have to learn from it. You have to keep moving. And that's really what the discipline of now is about as well. I mean, you can't procrastinate just because you ran into a setback.
Yeah, it's one of those things that sometimes setbacks kind of put us in a kind of a state of being paralyzed until we realign ourselves again and get our momentum going again. At least that's kind of how it happened to me. Every time there was some kind of a tragic situation or a loss or something where I was called away from the track I was on, I just kind of felt like I didn't have my feet underneath me, and it's one of those things where it kind of takes maybe a learned habit or, kind of something that you learn, like you've got these 12 principles. And if you know these 12 principles, they can kind of pick you out of the quicksand that you're drowning in and go forward. And if you know these, it just makes life so much easier to get back on track. And, you know, I think, I mean, for your book, do you feel like it's for everybody, or do you feel like it's for students, or, who is your target group for this particular book?
Well, the core target is entrepreneurs and executive leaders that are looking to go from good to great, but the message applies. And it's interesting. I can't tell you how many students have reached out to me, and I've done things at colleges, I've done them at high schools. A lot of it, like I don't do much to market to students, but students always reach out to me, right? Because I think they can relate to the procrastination, and just like I talk about in the book, one of the things that causes people to procrastinate is this impulsivity, right? It's like you want to go on to the next thing. You want to find the next shiny object, the next emotional impulse, and you'll put off the thing that you've been working on. And I remember when I was in college, I was highly impulsive, and most college students are. I think that's one of the reasons. Oh, hey, here's the party. Okay, hey. So
Yeah.
I think that's part of the reason that my message resonates with people in school.
Yeah, I get that. Do you feel as though people are more lacking in discipline now than perhaps they were in the previous generation?
I think there's more distractions now.
Ah,
It's much easier now to get off track, right? I mean, your
yeah.
cell phone,
Oh, yeah.
email, social media, text messages.
Yeah.
There's so many things to distract you, and
Yeah.
so that's why. I think the other thing too, I think people that grow up in this generation are so focused on instant, instant. Like if let's say you're in the millennial generation, you grew up with
Right.
everything at your fingertips. You can push a button, get whatever you wanted. You got high speed internet. So if something takes time, it's harder to process that. Okay, wait a minute, this is an instant.
Yeah.
So I think just the times we're in, I think it does make it more challenging, and there's more distractions, and there's more demand. People aren't as willing to wait and delay gratification. So I think that factors into it.
That's so interesting, because I'm an astrologer. The planet Earth has increased its velocity 21 times since I've been born. So, you can imagine back, when, let's just say, our grandparents were living, and the earth was rotating at such a slower rate. So people had like the same house all their life. They had the same furniture all their life, the same job all their life. And then they wanted to pass it down to the first in the family so that they could have it all their life. And then all of a sudden, we get this increase in velocity. Things start happening quicker, faster. And it's almost like the next generation, came upon the scene, and they were like, oh, wow, well, you know, we're not going to wait all our life to take one vacation. We're going to go on vacation. We are going to, go here, go there. We're going to live in a couple different houses. We're going to have different furniture. And like my mom and dad, they may have gotten paid monthly. And then when you get to my generation, it was every 2 weeks. And, now we are going so fast that, people expect to get paid before they do the work. They want the money in their account before they'll even start the project. So, it's kind of one of those things that, knowing how the universe is working right now and how fast things are going right now, it is, uh, it is, you have to stop and you have to make the intention that you're open for discipline, because I think a lot of people, they're not even open for discipline. They're going so fast and they expect different things, to work out the way, they want them to. And so to have the intention that you're going to work out, or you want to get healthy, you want to, you want to create your own business, you want to create your own success, you want to help others, be of service. I think you have to create this intention before, you do anything these days, because, like you said, everything goes by and it's instant gratification. So I feel like slowing down, and this is why people talk about meditation, slowing the body down, aligning the body, getting in the rhythm of, the planet itself, the speed. When your breath syncs up to Mother Earth, it is an automatic click. It's kind of like when you have your combo on your locker and all of a sudden you get to that last number and it clicks and everything opens up and you're like, oh, wow, this is great. But if you don't have the next plan, or if you don't have little micro habits or principles or values in place, then you're slowed down, you're stopped, you're open. And then what? This is why your particular book, I think, is so important, because if you start people off, even in the student range, they're going to be brilliant, amazing entrepreneurs. And, I always say, teach the children, because they're our future. And it seems like the older ones, we're just dancing as fast as we can and we're trying to catch up to what's going on. But a little cheat sheet or a little synopsis, or, your 12 principles, to get off your butt and do something is great. It's absolutely great. Can you tell our followers out there, whoever's listening, maybe something to get that momentum going?
So again, you started to hit on it. It helps to begin with the end in mind, and to really visualize where it is that you want to go. And a lot of times you'll procrastinate because you're really not clear. And I always say that clarity is the starting point of success.
Right.
And so if someone's struggling, you're listening now and you're struggling with setting goals, I have people do an exercise where you fast forward into the future, right? So it's February of 2023, and you're saying to yourself, man, this has been the best 12 months ever. And why do you feel that way? What are at least three specific things that you accomplished that make you feel like this was the best 12 months ever? So then when you can kind of put yourself into the future and really think about it from that perspective, and then it starts to clarify, okay, it's because I launched this business, I finished writing this book, I paid off this line of credit, whatever the things are. And then from there, you can make a vision board where you've got the pictures in front of you to push you towards that compelling future. So I think really being clear on where you're trying to go can go along. Now, when I was procrastinating in college, I think I lacked clarity at the time.
Mm-hmm.
If I look back, one of the reasons I procrastinated is because I wasn't really clear on, okay, I want to be this. And if I was like, okay, this is my North Star, this is my compass, then that would have made the other steps much easier and I would have been able to move forward. So I think that's a critical step.
I do too. And I do a lot of work and help people with their astrological chart, which is the language of the stars. And it's almost like your soul imprint. And there is a compass right in your astrology chart. It's the North Node. And I talked about this 2 shows ago and did a whole special on that. And then last show, funny enough, my husband and I were on, and we had made our vision boards.
Wow.
Yeah. So if you haven't had a chance to go back in the archives on YouTube, go ahead and do that. We did our vision boards. So we're right aligning with our next step with you, having these particular principles to draw from. I think this is awesome. I was just kind of wondering, do you think that everybody lacks clarity, or do you think that uh there's a reason, or is what do you think about that? Do we all suffer from procrastination?
Yeah, so there's a study, it was done by the University of Calgary. They said 95% of the population has some issue with procrastination. Now, I believe that the other 5%, they just haven't gotten around to completing the survey yet. And that's how serious this thing is. But no, so everybody doesn't have the same reason for procrastination.
Right.
So some people, it's a lack of clarity. Some people, it's fear. Fear is a common one, right? Especially with entrepreneurs. And so it's fear of success,
Right.
fear of failure,
Yeah.
fear of the unknown, fear of being judged. All of those things can cause someone to procrastinate. Then there's something else. It's called task aversion. I mean, you just don't like the task. You don't like doing it, so you'll put it off as long as you possibly can. It's not that deep. You just don't like doing it. Like a lot of people do that with their taxes. They just don't enjoy the process of doing their taxes, so they'll put it off till as long as they can. But the key is awareness and understanding what triggers you to procrastinate. Because if you rewind, you start tracking your time, you'll start seeing, it's a common thing that causes you to procrastinate. For some people, whenever it's something that's aspirational, right? Whenever it's something that could take them to that next level. Maybe that person's dealing with the fear of success because they're like, okay, what is this going to mean? Am I going to be able to measure up to the new standard? So it's really all the book. The goal of the book is to help you to heighten your awareness to what's triggering you to procrastinate.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. Yeah. Because it could be a lot of deep-seated emotional issues,
Oh, sure.
Really could be. It could be something that, has caused trauma in your life, or, perhaps there could be even, uh, a chemical imbalance where you can't focus for as long as, a time to complete a task, or, that kind of a thing as well. It could be, it could be a food imbalance or chemical imbalance, or, something like that. So, you've got a lot of energy, but you just can't stay on task to finish that. You get bored. I know a lot of people get bored. I'm tired of doing this now. I'm getting a detour. Go do something else, like a frat party. But this could really be, I want to say, the tip of the iceberg as to a lot of underlining subconscious things that perhaps are blockages and barricades and self-sabotaging that we all do all the time. It almost seems like if somebody else does something to us, we can recognize it, and we can feel sorry for ourselves, or we have the excuse sounds better because somebody else did this to us. But if we do it to ourselves, it's very hard to bring that awareness, and to really confront that, that I'm doing this to myself. I'm the one that's not completing the next step to get to where I'm going, or I'm my biggest enemy, kind of thing. I'm getting in my own way, kind of thing. That seems to be one of the hardest reflections, hardest pill to swallow, so to speak. But if we all kind of go through that and and we have a path to follow. I think that is one of the best things that you can give someone, not just, blowing smoke up somebody's butt here. I'm talking about real steps that you can take that's going to take you to the next thing where you can really see results. Let's talk about results, Eric. Give me some results that, these principles, that you can really see and have really changed people's lives.
Oh, absolutely. So, I mean, I work with entrepreneurs. So I have a 5-step process that I talk about in the book. It's 5 steps. It's the procrastination prevention pyramid. And so the first step at the foundation is your attitude, because your attitude is at the foundation of your success. And this is the key stumbling block for a lot of people. A lot of times people can have the know-how when it comes to business. They know what to do, but there's something with their mindset and their attitude and the way they think. And I can remember I talk about this in the book too. There's an entrepreneur who I was working with, and he was just stuck. He was struggling. He had to be at his business for it to function. And literally, I stopped him at the attitude level. And he had to tell me, I call him every week for a coaching call. And he had to tell me at the beginning something he was grateful for. That was the rule we set. You have to tell me. And at first he was, okay, yeah, fine. And pretty soon, man, I mean, he would go on and on and on. He could take up half our call talking about the things he was grateful for.
Aww.
To the point where you could see his business started to improve. Started to make more money. Started tracking better people. Got to the point where he didn't have to be there at all. And the foundational experience was him focusing on the things he had to be grateful for. And it got to a point, a couple of times, I didn't ask him because, he was improving. He said, oh, wait a minute, stop. I've been waiting all week to tell you this. Here's what I'm grateful for. Blah, 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 blah. So, but no, I mean, it produces results.
You're a great coach. That's awesome. That is a great, great tool, and sometimes you just got to get back to basics, in order to kind of move forward. So, and I know a lot of people out there who are struggling with their weight. They're struggling with different things that they want to improve on. And for some reason, they just don't have that willpower. Are there some people that just are, I don't know, DNA deficit for willpower?
Well, I think willpower comes easier for some than others, depending on your personality type. Like, for example, like I'm that type A personality. So people with my personality type, you form habits easier. So you're more internally driven to do certain things. You don't need external motivation to get certain things done. Certain personality types need that external focus. But having said that, you can still get things done. It's about self-awareness. So maybe for you, and I was just talking to somebody about this, that you join a gym and you have an instructor that you're paying, right? And that person's going to meet you at the gym at 5 o'clock. And so you're paying the person. The person's going to be calling you if you don't show up. So that's a good way, if you know yourself in that context, there's a good way to get around that. So that way you don't have to.
Accountability,
accountability, right. So you don't have to try to depend on your willpower alone.
Right. Those bumper cars are pretty good.
Oh, absolutely.
Definitely to get you going, and to keep you, on the straight and narrow and to keep you doing what needs to be done at that particular time. As far as procrastination, sometimes people say, how many times do you have to do something in order for it to stick? In order for it to gain results? In your particular principles, do they just work out, if you just go through them once, or do you need to kind of embed these principles in, or, is it a quick fix? Can you jump from one to another, or do you have to go each step of the way?
It helps to apply the steps, because it's about forming habits and, get to a point where you've got your routine where you don't have to think about it. Now,
Right.
it takes longer for some than others, but I think you have to look at it as a process.
Right.
That's really what it is. And you have to factor failure into the success plan. You
Right.
have to know that you're going to break the diet. You're not going to go to the gym when you said you were going to go to the gym. And they said that the heaviest weight in the gym at the gym is the front door. You have to anticipate that you're going to have these setbacks, and you just have to build that into your plan and know that you're going to come back stronger moving forward.
So with this book, and I know it's been up for awards and things like that. Do you have another book in mind? Sometimes one book just creates another book. And you've had this one going for a little bit. Do you have another one that you're working on?
Well, so we have a book in the works with the What Now movement. It's called the What Now Mindset. And we're going to talk about this mindset of pivoting, right? It's a similar focus as it relates to overcoming procrastination, but how do you pivot when you face a challenge? Why is it that some people just stop and give up, but other people, that challenge ends up being the best thing that ever happened to them? Like I know of entrepreneurs in 2020. 2020 was their best year ever in business. Their business exploded. Now I know other entrepreneurs in the same business who were just wiped out.
Right.
Same business, but one person pivoted, the other person just kind of threw their hands up in the air. So so the What Now mindset, that's something that's in the works now.
Right. So are challenges, and is there a breaking point in a challenge for some people where they can get over it and some people just can't get over it? Is there a tipping point as far as challenges go? Because it seems like sometimes, like you said, the pandemic, sometimes it just wipes people out. And I'm just wondering if there's some type of a tipping point for people.
No, I think it's all in your perspective. It's and I think there's probably some challenges that they can wipe anybody out. Depends on what it is, but especially if it comes at the wrong time. But I think a lot of it is your mindset and your perspective. If you embrace this idea that everything is happening for you and not to you, you're more likely to roll with the punch than if you say, "Oh my goodness, this is the end. I'm never going to recover." Blah 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 blah.
Right.
So
right.
I think it's really, again, it goes to your mindset and your habit, and that's why it's always good to have good habits, because what I've seen too is some of the entrepreneurs that just didn't make it is because their bad habits were brought to light. The pandemic shined a light on some of the bad habits. You can get away with it during the good times, but when times got tight, the people that did better are the ones that had certain habits in place. And so that's why it's good when things are normal, whatever that means, to be putting habits in place and making certain preparations.
So do you feel that some people are lazier than other people?
I think some people have a faster motor. So I think some people have a hunger. Some people are more connected to their why. I guarantee you, if you take that person that you think of, you may have a person in your mind right now, you're thinking, "Oh man, he is lazy." But you give that person a strong enough why, he'll surprise you. Like if you said, "You know what? If you don't do this, your two kids aren't going to eat," I guarantee you that person is going to move heaven and earth to get it done. So it may not be that the person's lazy. It may be that person just hasn't connected to a strong enough why. But like, for example, we had a lady from England. She was on the podcast, 30-minute hour. And her thing is that she built this multi-million-dollar business from her kitchen table. And I'm like, how in the world did you do that? How did you build a multi-million-dollar business from your kitchen table? And here's what she said. She said, "Look, my husband divorced me. He left. I didn't have any money. He was the breadwinner. I didn't have any way of making money. I had these two kids that needed to eat.
Right.
So I had to, failure wasn't an option. I had to find a way. She had a strong why. And you'd be surprised what she'll do when you're desperate. So I think that connecting to a strong why is what can overcome what appears to be laziness.
Yeah. And you think, I mean, I've seen it so many times, especially in sports, where leadership provides a motivation or, strong leadership, I think, is key in a lot of these situations. And what are your thoughts about that?
I think that's true. Yeah, I mean, leadership can make a huge difference.
Yeah.
You look at sports, you can see somebody who was a malcontent on one team and looks like he doesn't belong in the sport, but then he
Yeah.
goes with another coach and he almost looks like a different person.
Right.
Because
Right.
that coach knows how to motivate him and knows how to push the right buttons. No, I do think leadership is critical, and I think it helps to have a coach outside of the sporting arena.
Mhm.
I think it's valuable.
Well,
Because
now they do, when you go to, let's just take tennis. I mean, they've got a psychologist with them now, and a trainer as far as their food intake and their fuel that they're taking in, and all of this different stuff, not even relating to their tennis coach, right? So there's a lot of different coaches that make up a team to make somebody successful. And it's amazing when somebody does it all on their own. It's just, I mean, they're to be commended. They really are. I have found in the last, I want to say probably 25 years, the concept of bringing the team concept um, into your everyday life is now being accepted more now than ever. Do you find that's true?
sure, I do find that to be true. But like the people that you look at that are big name entrepreneurs, and it looks like they did it all on their own. In most cases, they had business. They may have been the face of the venture, but in
Right.
many cases, they had other people
Right.
that were doing things. And the team, I just think that team is critical for you to get to that next level, especially if you got people who have complementing skill sets. So, I might be strong here, not as strong in this area, but my business partner may be stronger in this area. And so so that can definitely help to propel you forward. But no, I do think you're seeing it more and more, the focus on a team and being around the right people.
Yeah, I do too, because I think there is an awareness, and I think Nike had a lot to do with this, just go for it and no fear and all of that. But I also feel that there is an awareness that being prideful really stops you in your tracks and really prevents you from getting to where you want to go. And I think you have to kind of be aware of that in order to let other people in to help you get to where you're going. And sometimes, if you're prideful, it just seems like you're missing out on the chance for other people to catapult you and to support you, and to really fill in the blanks of maybe perhaps some things that that you need help with, that you're blinded by with a lot of pride. I find that a lot. How do you feel about
Well,
that?
sometimes it's not necessarily pride. Sometimes we're brought up to believe that needing help is a sign of weakness.
Right, right,
That right, that that if I say I need help, that means that there's something wrong. So
right.
you get to a certain point in business because, hey, I've got this. I can just charge through. I can make this happen. And if I need help, and I think you have to understand that you don't have to, you know, you don't have to be bad to get better and to
Right.
have help. And there's a certain point you can go by yourself. But for you to get to the next level, I mean, if you follow somebody like Michael Jordan, basketball player, when he
Yeah.
was just the leading scorer and doing all of this, he got to a certain point, but he couldn't get to the championship level until he bought his team, had a team around him. He had better players. He had a better coach. When he got the better coach who could hold him accountable and yell at him, and the better players, that's when he became the greatest and got all these championships. I think it's true in life. But yeah, this misunderstanding that, oh man, it's a sign of weakness if I say I need help.
Right. That is so true. And I think, again, I'm going to relate to what I'm certified astrologer here. So I'm going to relate to we're moving into the age of Aquarius, and Aquarius is all about the team, all about being a team player. And it's going to be moving more and more in that direction. And you can see it. You can see that it's très chic to have a coach these days. Whereas before, if you had a tutor, we didn't talk about that. You did that, behind closed doors, at the expense of your parents, probably.
So we're talking about team, right? So
Yeah.
I'm the president of the What Now movement. I've got 2 vice presidents. I've got a marketing person. I've got somebody else. He's the chief movement officer. And every now and then, like, they come up with an idea that I would have never thought of. And I'm like, man, that's great. Let's do that. Or I come to one of my meetings thinking, okay, we're going to do this. And then they bring up something. And I'm like, never would have thought of that. That's perfect. Let's do it. And it ends up moving us forward. So I am perfectly comfortable that I don't have to have all the ideas. I don't have to have all the right answers. It is about the team, and they've really added a lot to this venture.
Yeah. And that's the way we're going. What's good for the team is going to be good for me in the long run. And that's kind of what the age of Aquarius is all about. It's all about the collective. It's all about moving humanity, up-leveling humanity, and learning how to all work together. And I think that is, that's the way, that's what's going on from the universe. That's the next lesson in our progressive nature of the soul growth. And well, this has just been awesome. How do we get your book? How do we book you for a seminar? How do we reach you?
So you can go to my website to get the book, The Discipline of Now, 12 Practical Principles to Overcome Procrastination. You can go to ericmtwiggs.com is the website. The book, it's available as an audio, as an ebook, and as a paperback book. And you can certainly contact me through the website if you wanted me to speak at your next event. I do workshops, keynotes, all kinds of stuff.
Do you have any events coming up, Eric?
So every month we do a coffee and conversation. So the first Saturday in March at 10 a.m., people can go to the What Now movement Facebook group, and we'll be doing a coffee and conversation. Basically, it's a 1-hour session where myself and my team, so our theme this year is setting goals and accomplishing your goals for the year. So we'll be talking about that. We'll provide people with specific tools, specific tips, and specific tactics. So that's one thing. And you can also mark your calendar. I've got something on March the 15th. I'm doing for an organization that's called the Bernie L. Bates Foundation, and it's on the discipline of now, and it's about overcoming procrastination. That's a webinar series that I'm doing for the Bernie L. Bates Foundation.
Okay.
So people, I can certainly give you people can register for that. The website is blbinc.org.
.org. Okay.
.org. Yeah. So those are two things to keep in mind as far as events for me.
Wonderful. You have been such a delightful, inspiring, and unbelievable, full of tips for us this evening. I want to thank you so much for coming along on the show, Eric. And please, the next time you have your next book or anything else, please come back and see us. Would you be willing to do that?
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely. I'll be glad to. This has been a blast. Thank you for having me on your show.
Thank you so much. And everybody out there, thank you from the bottom of my heart for coming along with me and listening for this wonderful hour. And until next time, may the angels protect you and guide you. Good night, everybody.